Do they do intelligence tests?
Yes, depending on how you decide those. You talking about like IQ?
Not necessarily IQ, because IQ is a flawed system, I think. But I mean, just general aptitude tests, whatever the military does.
You talking about when they draft players?
When they draft players,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They do.
It's a part of the combine. They do an interview and they actually do an intelligence test.
Interesting.
Like quarterbacks is probably the one they pay attention to the most, but offensive linemen are up there and linebackers.
Okay. And how often do they reject someone after seeing their intelligence scores?
It happens.
It does happen?
It does happen.
All right.
But usually your athletic performance sometimes outweighs it. But your draft stock drops if you don't rank high enough in the intelligence test that they put you through.
It's like the Forrest Gump situation. Like,
Yeah.
he ran real good, but sometimes he didn't run in the right direction. You know?
Correct. But he was still
Real fast.
Yeah, he could run home, man.
Oh man, he did run home. And I think that's a fascinating distinction, because like, yeah, I don't think people realize that dedicating your life entirely to doing a sport very well won't go as far as you want unless you learn and use your mind to tackle the sport. There's a lot of studies out there that like the fallacy of genius. You know, I hate the term genius, but when you have someone that over specializes into something, which is often where the term genius gets applied to, whether it's someone playing piano or playing golf or anything like this from a very early age, you know, they're a prodigy. Oh, they're incredible. You want to see their trajectory. But honestly, it's like, it's a fallacy, because there's a problem with that when they over specialize and they're not able to adapt to different circumstances. And that's kind of the key point of sports, is you need to constantly be adapting to different circumstances and be able to think your way out of it at such a level that it's unconscious. And so like, I'm not saying you're going to go to a college class and learn the tackle any problem class 101. You know, that's not how it goes. But there is something to be said about having a diverse set of problem-solving skills from a diverse set of applications that can be applied, because it builds centers in your brain that are used for so many different tasks. There is no part of the brain that is so unbelievably specialized that is not used for anything else, barring a select few tiny exceptions. When it comes down to general systems of understanding and our perception of reality, it's about evolving those systems into a point where they can do anything you want in any situation.
Yeah.
And that increases your overall capacity as a human being and intelligence. So learn! Learn, everybody out there! Learn! I'm telling you, learn!
I mean, critical thinking is something that you need to have in every aspect of life.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing that I think I've struggled with some people that I've met who haven't been that great at critical thinking, in that they're like, I don't know how to do this, and then they shut down.
I know, right? What's with that?
Yeah.
Figure it out. How can you look at a problem and be like, I don't know how to solve it, I guess I just give up. I'll walk away from it.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
no.
I mean, there's the whole like men don't ask for directions and don't read instructions joke.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, that needs to apply to be able to be like, okay, I see this, they forgot the instruction or whatnot. How can I figure out how this would work?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with the resources available today with YouTube and everything else, you can find a how-to on anything.
Yeah, it really is incredible. And again, this is just like, I don't mean this to sound like tooting our horn or anything, but there was something to be said about, a lot of people are saying like, you know, generations get smarter after every generation or so. Like, usually the trend is that generations get smarter. But there's a lot of, especially Gen Z kids just growing up now, that assume that millennials are not going to understand how the new technology works. Right? Because that's been a trend in the past where you see this. The problem with that mindset is that when we were growing up, technology still needed to be fiddled with.
Yeah.
Technology still needed to be hammered into place, needed to be figured out. You had to understand what the problem was. I'm not saying millennials are better than Gen Z. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Gen Z are perfectly capable of understanding and accepting all the new technology that's out there, and that's totally fine. But it's one of those things where, like, our generation, because we grew up with problem solving in mind for a vast majority of things that we did. Not everyone is exception to anything. I hate generational terms anyway. But what I'm saying is, like, because problem solving skills were at the core of us interacting with technology, like just figuring out how some of the IRC chats and like getting your AOL account, stupid AOL messenger shit, and figuring out how to decorate and all building your own computers and trying to learn what the shit is there, versus say an iPhone, which is so streamlined and nice and easy to use. Would love to have this when I was a kid. But it's not saying like it's any better. It's like that kind of problem solving skills set us up to be successful in technology going into the future. And I'm sure there are people in previous generations that have experienced this as well, but I think it's a bigger majority just because when you get that problem solving skill set, you're able to tackle any problem that you want. You might not be cool while you do it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, but it doesn't mean that you can't figure it out. And so this is stepping outside of the stupid cliches of generational whatevers. Is like in sports, I imagine it's the same thing. Having the skill set to problem solve in any situation means that you are not floundering and you can inwardly be analytical about your performance and understand how you fit. If you understand the game as a whole, you understand how you can be better at it.